Hey guys, it's Taylor back with Life with Taylor, and today we're going to be reading and ranking some paranormal Reddit stories. So let's get into it. I'm really excited about these. Some of these, I've only read the titles, so it could go either way with these paranormal ones, but let's see. Also, we're going to be ranking them on a scale from 1 to 5 ghosts, okay? All right, the first one. Me and my boyfriend experienced something horrifying at the playground at night. Great, we're already off to a great start. So it started off, we lived in a pretty quiet, I'm locked in. So to start off, we live in a pretty quiet and small town. The other night, I was really bored and wanted to go do something, so I thought it would be a cute idea to surprise my boyfriend with a little date and go to the playground. It was around 9 p.m. when we arrived at the park. Not one person or car was in sight, so we took that as a good thing considering we're older and I don't want to seem like two weirdos messing around at the park. Is this gonna be like some swing moving kind of thing? The night was going amazing. We swung on the swings and messed around on the playground. Then I really had to use the restroom, so we took a break and went. I also want to note that it was really dark at the park. Only 2 lights that barely did anything were on. He was waiting outside the bathroom for me. Then this awful gut feeling hit me, telling me we need to leave. So I hurried up and went out to meet my boyfriend. I told him that what I was feeling, and he said we're fine, which helped me a bit, but we both ignored it because I tend to overthink everything, and he didn't get any weird feelings. Honestly, same girl. I actually probably wouldn't be in that scenario in the first place because I would overthink it too much. So we go back to messing around. I felt paranoid and I'm more alert, but my boyfriend's words made me feel better. So we were on this spinning thing, just messing around and laughing. Then I heard this bang, like someone or something hit the playground on the opposite side of us. My boyfriend didn't hear it, so I kind of brushed it off, and we went back to messing around. Then we went on to the playground, and I was out of breath, so I stopped and took a slight break, grabbing my boyfriend's hand and placing it on my chest to show him how fast my heart was beating. I wasn't thinking of anything scary at this point, but suddenly we both heard a group of people singing the end of the happy birthday song. They were all in sync in an unnatural way, and I swear I heard it come from the bushes about 20 feet away, but my boyfriend thought he heard it come from underneath us. We both heard it, so I know I'm not tripping. My instincts took in, and I rushed to the top of the playground, which only has one way to get up. Probably not the smartest thing I could have done, but I panicked. My boyfriend obviously didn't want to be left behind, so he quickly followed me. I was having a full-blown panic attack, and my boyfriend was just trying to calm me down, while we both are keeping an eye on things and listening for any more sounds. I ended up getting a call from my brother, so I'm practically begging for him to come over here, but he refused and just told us to make a run for the car. So for probably like 5 minutes, I was just panicking and refusing to move. It felt like we were standing there for so long, but we weren't. So finally, my boyfriend convinced me to go to the car with him. So he goes down first and I follow. He's holding my hand as we slowly make our way to the car. My brother was on the phone just in case. The whole walk to the car, I was just watching behind us, making sure no one or nothing was following us. We finally got to the car safely. There still weren't any cars in the parking lot, so I don't think anyone was there. I'm not sure what that was or who it was, but I refuse to go to the park at night now. Was it just some teenagers that were trying to mess with us or something more darker? I don't know. It's difficult because it is a public space and it was 9 o'clock at night, and you know, these rascals go to the park at night to do their drugs and whatnot. I don't know what people do at the parks nowadays. I don't know. This is definitely interesting. It's very creepy that they heard the end of Happy Birthday, but both of them heard it in 2 different directions. I don't know. Let's read some of the comments before we give a final ranking, because I'm not sure what to think of this. Oh my god, there's stories in here. Okay, we're just gonna read one. There are many of us who have a higher instinct level when there's something wrong / bad / evil in their threat awareness zone. Fortunately, you're one that has that ability. My suggestion for the future is to either get your BF to pay attention to your instincts or to start considering a different future. The last time I was at my parents' house in California, my wife and I got stopped into an occult shop in Placerville, aka Hangtown. Did not get that nickname randomly. It was full of both modern and clearly Old West antiques and everything from crystal balls, real ones, Ouija boards, and other items. Within 2 minutes, my wife said she had a very bad feeling and we needed to leave. I have a similar instinct, but not as keen as hers and other female friends who have been part of our PI team, private investigator team. I don't ignore it. Even if you never find out why either of you felt that way, the only thing that matters is that you listen to your instincts and act on it before you find out. I completely agree. I think if you have, I don't know, going based off your gut is kind of like, I don't know. Sometimes it can work. Sometimes, I don't know. It's kind of just like, oh, you're really going to listen to your gut instead of your head. But there's something, it's almost like intuition, it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but this is definitely creepy. I'm going to give that a 3 ghosts. 3 out of 5 ghosts. I think it's definitely interesting. It's definitely creepy, but because it is a public place, there is a potential that it could have been somebody pranking these people. So, next, haunted hot cocoa turned my husband into a believer. Wow, okay. My husband has always been a skeptic, even though his personal paranormal experiences are one most would dream of having. He has always seen people who aren't there, even in adulthood. They're clear, fully detailed, and he can stare at them for a good 5+ seconds. They're much more complex than a figure seen in passing or at a glance. A reoccurring one was a man in an early 40s suit wearing a hat. He's seen outside of his windows while driving in his backseat and sitting in his living room. He's also made full extended eye contact with what we call void creatures. They're pitch black, cat-sized creatures that stare him around corners or past a doorframe. None of this has ever convinced him. Girl, I hope I don't get whatever superpower this is. No, thank you. The dark. If I were to see a void creature in the middle of the night and it's like dark, I think I would die on impact. I think I would like have a heart attack and a stroke and shit myself at the same time. Because like I'm constantly like looking in like dark places and staring for a long time to see if there's anything in there. Not by choice. Actually, it is by choice. But it's just like I don't want to see anything in there, so I am looking to see if there's anything in there. But then the pareidolia happens where you think you see something, but it's not actually. Anyways, let's continue. A few years ago, him and I were making hot cocoa. Nothing fancy, just the powder with hot water and milk. After stirring, we're staring at one of the cups and the bubbles/froth makes a smiley face facing him. We're like, oh, it's cute. We're like, oh, cute, it's smiling. And then the smiley face changes into another smiley face facing me. And we're laughing like, OMG, that's crazy. And then we both watch it completely morph in a way that doesn't seem physically possible. And it suddenly becomes what we both interpreted as an evil face in agony. What was weird about it was mainly the fact that there was no way for the froth to have shifted in the way it did. The liquid was still. We both watched it happen in real time and both were like, WTF. We talk about it sometimes and he's genuinely terrified about that experience. I'm shocked because I feel like his other experiences are way more convincing and we've had some pretty convincing shared experiences. One corner of our house had some bad energy living in it after we threw a party. We watched a plant jump off the stand at me walking by. The perfectly healthy plant that was in it died after, and us and our cats saw shadows run to and from that corner a few times. His mom saw the shadow over FaceTime once and told us to clean it, and then everything stopped. The face in the cocoa was definitely off-putting and weird with no explanation, but I do think it's a little silly that haunted hot cocoa is what turned him into a believer. Yeah. I wonder though if that's maybe like he was considering all of it and that was like the final shot, was like, whoa, maybe this is actually real. But I think it is funny that a cup of hot cocoa made him realize that. Yeah, I don't know. I think it is, I don't know. Because for these stories, we're just going based off somebody's words. And it could potentially not have happened. This could be a completely fake story. But I feel like this is real. I feel like it's creepy. And I feel like it would be hard to somehow move the kind of froth and milk on a thing. Okay, let's read one comment. Wow, I've been into the paranormal for many years, knowing all kinds of stories, watching a multitude of shows, podcasts, etc. that I never heard even remotely close. In my opinion, your husband has a high level of psychic ability. He needs to learn from psychics like Echo Bodine, Cindy Kaza, etc. Contact them, ask online questions, maybe purchase one of their books on how to deal with being a psychic, and how to control the spirits, block them out, shut them down, set boundaries. OP replied, "It was an extremely unique experience and I'm happy it was shared." He asked me to add that when we both looked at it, it was totally stagnant and it looked like nothing had happened. We both asked each other, "Did you see what I saw?" and confirmed. I'll mention that to him, blah blah. Yeah, I'm gonna give that a 4, maybe because it's such an intriguing story. I definitely think it is funny that it was hot cocoa that made him a believer. And also, I feel like that would completely, like I'm already a believer, but I feel like that would be very creepy if I made hot cocoa and it did that. I would be terrified. So yeah, I'm gonna give that a 4. My daughter, wife, and I saw something that we can't really explain. Anyone want to explain? Hi. I don't know if this is the right place to put this, but I don't know what other sub to post this to. That's fine because I don't know how to use Reddit, so. My family, wife and daughter 7. They're both 7? I'm confused. And I were taking a spring walk in a park near the water. This park was sort of foresty and there was a river. It's a pretty big area with multiple paths. It was around 5 p.m. and there weren't many people. It was pretty empty since it was sort of chilly still. I'm literally going to go insane if these short sentences continue to go on. We walked along a path that went along the river. Suddenly, as we got to a certain part of the path, it got oddly quiet. We didn't hear the birds or squirrels, just the wind and water. It was odd, but it didn't make us worry. My daughter stopped, then pointed to the other side of the river. The river was running, but there were still some patches of snow on the ground. The water was most likely freezing. My daughter smiled and said, Mommy, look, the wolf went for a swim." My wife and I both looked to see a large wolf crawling out of the water. My daughter loves animals, so she was excited. The wolf was soaking wet. It shook off before turning around and staring right at us. Its eyes were predator looking at us like he was seeing us as prey. His eyes were also too human, if that made sense. I wasn't the only one who thought something was off because my wife whispered WTF under her breath and grabbed me and my daughter holding us. We stared back at the wolf. The wolf was light-coated, a light whitish gray. Its eyes were dark. It just stared at us. My daughter kept trying to say hi to it. I kept getting a weird feeling. The park was still quiet and it felt like time stopped. I've never seen a wolf act like this. It was staring at us, not moving, soaking wet. I thought maybe it was sick or had something, so I told my family we should go. As we walked, the wolf followed us from the other side of the river. He was walking, staring at us the whole time. What? This sounds like a story, but let's continue. He didn't look away. He walked without looking away. My daughter still didn't feel like anything was wrong, and she said, "Aw, the wolf likes us." I told her that the wolf was sick and we had to leave it alone. It followed us until the path went into the trees and we could no longer see the river. After a few minutes, the sound of birds and squirrels were there again. It freaked my wife and I out. I thought nothing of it until the next morning. For context, we live in a smallish town in Ontario. It's not really the country, but not a big city or anything. The next morning, I stepped outside to have a smoke, my morning routine. I looked around and saw some paw prints in the dirt and patches of melting snow. It was a large dog/wolf print, and it stopped at my living room window. There was only paw prints going towards my house and not away from my house. I got my wife and we looked and didn't see any prints going away from the house. It was so weird. We checked the house, but obviously nothing was inside. We didn't think to take pictures of them, which I regret. The rain mostly washed them away. There were still some, but they were mostly faded by the rain. I'm still creeped out, and I need to know if someone has an explanation. Maybe I'm overthinking it, and it was a sick wolf and a random neighbor's dog. Even though all my neighbors have dogs that are always on leashes and don't go out at night, the prints were definitely not there before. The edit says it's possible it was a coyote or a hybrid. It's also very likely that the people could have been feeding it and it got attached/reliant on humans. Okay, so let's pretend this was real and not a made-up story. Lack of animal noises is because if it was in fact a wolf, there was a predator in the area. Yeah, I just watched a movie and it had like this large shark and all of the other sharks like swam away because the big Bertha shark was swimming. So, and you know, at the end it ate one of the sharks. So because it's kind of like, it's almost like there's a big, like the large predator of the predator groups, you know? Like there's one alpha, even though like sharks are considered like, are they apex predators? Never mind. I don't think it is. It's not giving me an answer. Okay. Apex predators of the oceans. Killer whale. never mind. They're not apex predators. Anyways, whenever a large predator enters an area, everything tends to go quiet because it doesn't want to get eaten. Sure. Not sure where you live, but it's pretty rare to encounter a wolf in the wild. Yes, they live in certain areas, but they tend to be very shy of people, and if it was a coyote, it makes sense it followed you. They're known to do that. They track prey, and maybe your little girl looked like a snack, or perhaps it was a rabid dog. But then I have to wonder, why the hell would you allow your little child to attempt to talk to a freaking predator? Where I live, bobcat and pumas and bears are a real threat. Never would I allow my child to stand there trying to have a conversation with one. Yeah, I mean, we've only ever seen coyotes, like wild coyotes, and they like immediately run away when, you know, we've never gotten like face to face, like type shit. So I'm not sure how coyotes react. I'm going to give that a 2 because it definitely was a strange occurrence. Actually, should I give it a 1? Let me ponder. I'm gonna give it a 1. I changed my ranking. I do think it is it was just nature, you know. Wasn't anything paranormal, just nature. Because it was a predator, all of the noises stopped, which therefore made it feel like time stopped. It is a predator, so, and you did have a small child, which they like to eat, I guess. So I think that was the main gist of the story, but let's read the last one. My dad saw our dead neighbor's ghost at our entrance and she stared at him. Great. Okay, so this has been in my head for years and I just have to get this out. My dad came home one day in a good mood. Like he literally just bought something and was happy about it. Nothing was off about him at all. But when he got to our entrance, he saw her, our neighbor, an old woman who had just died not too long ago. Someone we actually knew personally. She stared right at him. And the way my dad looked when he told me and my uncle right after, he looked calm, but you could tell he was scared. Like that expression where someone's trying to hold it together, but their eyes are saying something completely different than you know what I mean. That was an entire sentence. We either have far too long sentences or short sentences. We live in the same house, by the way, same entrance. I think about this every time I walked past there at night. I hate it. Sorry for my bad English. It's good, girl. Interesting. There aren't any very good comments, but I am gonna give that a, let me think. I mean, we're going based off of somebody's word, but I am gonna give it a, we'll spice it up. We'll give it a 4. I feel like there is a possibility that that could have happened, and if it did seem like a strange occurrence, and this did happen, I think in the comments I read it was like 4 months after the neighbor had passed. There is a possibility that that could have happened. Yeah. Comment down below the creepiest story and how high you would rank it. I think mine was the hot cocoa one. I forget what I ranked that one, but I give that the highest ranking spot up on my tier list. Yeah, while you're down there commenting, click all the buttons. You know what to do. And I hope you guys have a good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world viewing this, and peace.